Our guest today is the City Clerk of Chicago. She has served in that position for the past 5 months and is the first woman ever elected to this office. Prior to being elected City Clerk, our guest today served as a state representative for 6 terms. She graduated from Bolingbrook High School, where she earned all state and all Midwest honors in varsity soccer. She attended Northeast Missouri State University on a soccer and academic scholarship, earning all Midwest honors in soccer and her bachelor's degree in business administration. Ladies and gentlemen, City Clerk Susana Mendoza. Susana?
So good afternoon. Did you notice how they always push the mic down for me? Thanks. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm super honored to be here today to speak to the Distinguished City Club. I feel a little bit like Steve Martin in that movie, The Jerk. You know, where he sees his name for the very first time in the phone book and he yells out, "I'm somebody!" And hopefully you'll all agree that this is not my jerk moment, but more like an I'm somebody moment. So thanks again for having me and more importantly for making time in your important and busy schedules to be here. So this is a great time to be an elected official in the city of Chicago. We have so many challenges, so that's really what it should all be about. We hear the word change a lot these days, and on May 16th, I became a part of the change when I was sworn in as the first female city clerk in the history of Chicago. From day one of my campaign for city clerk, I pledged to be an independent voice of advocacy for Chicagoans. I pledged to work with the new administration, yet not be beholden to it. I also pledged to bring more innovative ideas to the office of the city clerk, to think a little bit differently about what government can and should be doing. Before I get into how I think the city clerk's office is thinking differently, I should tell you a little bit about our office. From the get-go, when I decided to run for office, the question I got asked the most frequently was, what the heck does a city clerk do anyway? Isn't that a boring office? Why would you want to run for that office? And what can you really even do as city clerk? So I can tell you that for the last 6 months of having the experience of being the clerk, this office is anything but a sleepy office, and you can do a whole heck of a lot as city clerk. One of the first things I did on my campaign website was to create a dedicated page to explaining the vital role of the office of the city clerk, and it became quickly one of our most visited pages on the website. Why? Because really the city clerk's role is vital and serves as an important checks and balances to the mayor's office. What I'd like to emphasize to folks, and what many people find very surprising, is that the clerk's office is the second largest office in the city of Chicago, yet is the most visited office in city government. Our office impacts every single Chicagoan as a result of our role and responsibilities. One of the most important roles of our office is that we serve as the official record keeper of all city council legislation and records. It doesn't sound very sexy, but I think it's very exciting because guess what? That legislation impacts every single one of us in this room, whether it's legislation that privatized Chicago meters or the legislation that grants a sidewalk cafe permit to your favorite cafe in the neighborhood, or the recent ban on talking or texting on cell phones while riding a bike, or the skyrocketing increase in city club membership fees. I'm totally kidding about that. But see, you should be vigilant on our website. So all of this is available with just a click of your mouse now in our new expanded online legislative information center. You should go check it out, and you could do so by visiting www.chicityclerk.com and visiting our legislative information center. As clerk, I get to oversee the city council proceedings whenever we're in session. And that's a lot of fun, and certainly it's an incredible honor for me, especially when you stop to consider that never in the history of our city had a woman's voice been on the record. We issue business licenses, sell the city dog registration, and serve as an official passport acceptance agency and distribute valuable senior medical ID and kids' ID cards to residents. What are we most known for, though? And that's approximately 1.3 million city vehicle stickers are sold each year in the city of Chicago. Our office is responsible for selling and collecting more than $100 million a year in revenue from the sale of these city stickers, or wheel tax emblems. And we do all of this on an operating budget, so 100 million plus in revenue, on an operating budget of about $9 million per year with a staff that is leaner than ever. So what am I doing differently as your city clerk? First, I've challenged my staff and myself. When I walked in the door, I told them to stop thinking about the old ways of doing things and to start thinking differently. I wanted to know if the way they did business, on everything from how they processed a city sticker to the publishing of the official city council journal, was done because that's the way we've always done it, or if we had to do certain things by law. And then we started to make some changes. As a matter of fact, prior to my swearing-in ceremony, I came into the office to meet with staff about giving a serious facelift to our website. I'm proud to say that within the first 10 days of taking office, we made nearly 200 enhancements to our website, all with user ease in mind. My staff understands my commitment to bringing our office into the 21st century technologically. The day I took office, we launched our social media sites. Now, if you can't watch the City Council meeting live, you can follow our play-by-play updates on our Twitter page. Or if you really want a good laugh and a helpful tip, you can watch me on YouTube channel removing a city sticker. I'm incredibly skilled at that, okay? We're also leveraging social media tools as a way for us to more quickly respond to customer requests and feedback. It's really a great tool for us. If you can imagine that as an elected official, when a person walks in off the street because they need something, they go to your office. If you could envision ignoring that individual who's physically in your office, you can imagine what that means to you. Social media is no different. When somebody says something bad about our office or says something good about our office or has an inquiry from our office and they decide not to come into the office but to share that through social media, we need to be all over that, because to not be would be the equivalent in my mind of ignoring that constituent. So it's a different world. It's not just about people walking into your office now or writing you a letter. It's real time, it's social media, and if you're not there, then you're making a big mistake. So basically, here's what I'm saying. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and watch me on YouTube, and my username is Chai City Clerk. So I want our office to be the most technologically savvy, user-friendly, and social media-rich clerk's office in the country. And we have a very, very long way to go, but I'm laser-focused, and we will get there. And along those lines, here's something that might interest you. We improved our posting time of legislation from a few days within a city council adjourning, from a few days from the city council adjourning to having all legislation, votes, and video being posted on the day of the city council meeting. Huge improvement. We're working faster with you and all the media as well to get the legislation that directly impacts Chicagoans out to the public earlier than ever before. And we're going to get even better at that with our goals of real-time legislation posting and aldermen hopefully submitting legislation electronically instead of through hard paper copies. As a former state legislator who for years submitted legislation electronically, it was pretty shocking to see that it's not done at the city level, and this could really save a lot of time and paper costs. So we're hopefully going to make that happen. I spent time with our staff responsible for processing mail order stickers. Yes, I recruited my office administrative staff at no extra money, of course, on a beautiful Saturday in June to help me open and sort through and process city stickers, the orders of the city stickers, in order to fully understand what our front line must do in order to get out tens of thousands of sticker orders. Let me tell you first of all, never mail in your sticker order. Please don't do that. It is tedious and an archaic process for our staff, but more importantly, it's horrible in terms of turnaround time for the customer, often taking over a month from the time you mail us your application to the time you get the sticker. Now, please purchase your sticker online. But besides that, what I did learn is that there has to be a more efficient way of processing our mail-in applications and processing these sticker orders. And I've challenged the manager of my division, as well as my team and myself, to find a better way to do this moving forward. We've made the online city vehicle sticker purchase process so much easier than in prior years. Today, when you go to our homepage, it's as easy as one click and you're in our purchase application. Believe it or not, in the past, you had to actually search within our website to find the purchase page. I mean, it's crazy. We're asking you to pay a tax, because that's what it is. You can call it a city sticker, but it's a tax. and we're making it difficult for you to do so in the process. I mean, it's totally insane. So in any event, I'm trying to use technology to make things easier for you. Not only is your online purchase today easier to access and navigate, but I'm so proud of the fact that our online orders have an awesome, I'm going to use that word, awesome turnaround time of 4 to 5 days. From close to a month if you mail it to 4 to 5 days online. I mean, the customer feedback from a satisfaction point of view has been fantastic, so I'm happy but never satisfied. We've got a bunch of cool new ideas and initiatives planned for next year's city sticker season, so please stay tuned. And if any of you went to City Hall or one of our 2 satellite offices to purchase your sticker, you know about our Great America type lines in the hallway. Seriously long lines, no fun right at the end. Okay. So one of my new employees, I'm very super proud to say this, Wade Chan, approached me with a novel idea to create a will call type service where people could get out of line and go to a drop-off window, drop off their application with their check in it, and pick up their order the next business day. In essence, their wait went from 40 to 60 minutes to about 5 to 10 minutes. We instituted this service during the last 10 days of our sticker season. This idea worked like a charm, and we received so many requests to do this again next year that not only will we expand it to our entire selling season, but we'll also offer the will call service at both of our satellite offices and even offer it on our online service to our online customers. Now, why online? When I talked to customers who were waiting in those long lines, I'd ask them, especially the younger ones who clearly, it's a good chance that they know how to use computers. I'd ask them, why on earth would you prefer to stand in line for this long in order and give up your lunch hour to purchase a city sticker when you could do it in your pajamas at home? And the super interesting but very unexpected answer to that question that most of them gave me was that they would love to order their sticker online, but that they didn't trust their postal carrier. It's kind of interesting, right? So as a result of this, I had never even thought of that, but if it wasn't for that contact face-to-face with the customer, I would have just assumed they don't like computers. So the fact that they don't trust their postal service made me think that, here you have a customer who had purchased an online sticker, it was lost in the mail, and then they had to go all the way downtown to City Hall to fill out an affidavit, and it becomes a major headache in the process. So as a result of this feedback, we're adding the will call feature to our online purchase application next year. So when a customer goes to purchase their city sticker online, they can even do it in their skivvies if they want to, right? So they can do it, and guess what? They can choose. Do you want it mailed to your home? Or would you like to swing by City Hall or one of the 2 satellite offices and pick it up? The choice is yours. So this is a great example of how a great idea from one of our frontline workers generated some additional legs that will bring more value to the customer experience. We've increased our city vehicle sticker enforcement because I believe that we have a chance to bring in some serious revenue by going after those people who think they can get away with not having to buy a city vehicle sticker. I've charged my enforcement division with increased numbers so that those who pay their fair share can have confidence in the fact that we're serious about going after those who do not. While the number thrown about is 1.3 million vehicle stickers sold, common sense tells us that this number should be much higher. I have set a goal to increase that number from 1.3 million to 1.4 million by the end of the next city sticker season by targeting the scofflaws and making them realize that it's cheaper to be in compliance with the law than to run from it. I am seeking to raise the penalty from $120 for noncompliance to $200. It should hurt. Based on the last year's numbers alone, that would help us raise an additional $1.3 million for the city of Chicago, just by going after those particular scofflaws. So here's the thing about me. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm not the type of person who can sit still for about 5 minutes. I need to be continuously challenged. I have no desire to be a cookie-cutter city clerk. And I plan to redefine the roles so that people can understand why it's important to have an office that's independently elected, transparent, and that can serve as a voice of advocacy for them. I'm not a clerk who likes to sit behind a desk. It's just not in my nature, and I don't think any politician can truly serve their constituents from the confines of an office. So in my first 44 days in office, I went to every single ward, all 50 of them, and visited with thousands of Chicagoans. No other city clerk can say they've ever done that. And let me tell you what I heard from those Chicagoans. They're struggling. They're concerned about their government, and they want to be heard. We as politicians have to listen to them. and we have to be accountable to them. That's part of the reason that last week I spoke out against the proposed city sticker increase in the mayor's budget. As I said in the beginning of my remarks, I pledged to be an independently elected official and to speak on behalf of all Chicagoans. While I can appreciate and respect the fact that the mayor has an incredibly difficult job, and personally, I believe he's doing a tremendous job, I disagree with his fee increase on folks who already are paying their fair share of the wheel tax, especially when there are other alternatives, principally going after the scofflaws, those people who are not abiding by the law. I've also been working hard to create city vehicle sticker sponsorship opportunities to help hold the line on any sticker fee increases. While that won't happen overnight, and the mayor needs budget answers now, I believe we need to exhaust all of our options with those who aren't obeying the law before we go after those who are. My office has requested an in-person meeting with the mayor to discuss this issue, as well as to offer alternatives that would help avoid the need for a sticker fee increase. As with anything, when good people come together with a willingness to share ideas for a common good and purpose, anything is possible. I know the mayor is a good man who loves this city, and I look forward to meeting with him to talk about better options. Basically, that's a quick synopsis of what, I don't know if that was quick, but I would say that was a synopsis of what we've been working on in my office. As you can tell, I could probably just sit up here and talk forever, but I'll stop with that and just let you know that I'm very thankful and honored to be a part of your lunch today and look forward to answering any questions. But thank you for the opportunity to serve you as your city clerk.
Fabulous. Just one thing on the city club dues. Anyone on the board will tell you that it's my opinion the only thing better than the city club $50 dues is 49 or 48 or 47. And just as an aside, my good friend from the other side of the aisle here, Roger Clerk, we have Republicans and Democrats on the board. We give away $120,000 at the end of the year. But after all of our lunches are paid, we give away a bunch to Channel 11 and elsewhere. But that's an example that, frankly, I'm very proud of. But Dan, before we start, I hear about this incredibly talented soccer player, and it occurs to me, based on what Jesse White has done with the tumblers, if I were in public office and I was adept at soccer, I would have every soccer child coming of age and so on and so forth, and maybe have Special Olympics involved and so forth, and get these young children and others involved in soccer. What do you think of that?
It'd be great, Jay. Maybe you're putting a plug in to be a coach or a referee or a sponsor would probably be more likely. But I guess Susana did such an outstanding job in articulating the concerns and her goals for this office that we have all of two questions. And they're kind of common in our experience. And as Jay introduced me earlier, I had been with the city clerk's office for 26 years under 3 different administrations, and I'm still here to tell the story. I haven't been locked up yet, like some of my predecessors. But let me talk about what Norma Broad has to inquire about. Can the city stickers be issued on a staggered basis or be sold on a staggered basis? If not, why? If yes, how to do the administration of that? Susana.
Sure, thank you. That's a great question. As a matter of fact, prior to taking office, I put together a transition team, and one of the ideas that I was pitching while I was running was whether we should or should not go to a tiered system, a year-long system of selling city stickers. To me, it doesn't make sense that we're cramming $1.3 million worth of 1.3 million stickers worth of sales into a 6-week period. So for next year, we're going to be extending the period of our sales. Don't have an exact date yet when we'll start, but it won't be June 1st. Because I think that will help us not just in making the experience easier for the customer, but certainly from a financial perspective, I really believe that will help cut down on our overtime costs, which it's not my money, it's yours. So here's an opportunity for us to be more efficient with how we use our resources and also provide better customer service at the same time. Now, I have very, very highly considered, and I would like to eventually move to a point where we don't have to sell city stickers in certain months. What I would envision is basically working off a 6-month cycle from what the Secretary of State does. So as an example, if your license plate is renewable in January, then your city sticker would be up for renewal in July or June. We could do a 6-month, 5-month, depending on what the weather is. But so 6 months after your renewal is due, your application for your city sticker would have to be ensued. So January, June, February, July, I mean, you can figure it out. It's very easy. But that way, we can help customers with their pocketbook, because it is pretty tough. If you get whacked with both having to renew your license plate and your city sticker at the same time, that hurts. This would allow people to be able to budget more accordingly, but also would make our operations much easier to handle without having to cram 1.3 million sales into a 2-month period. So great question. Thank you. We are working in that direction. We're not there yet, and it won't happen overnight, but that is definitely on my calendar of things I'd like to do.
Another question, Jill Zwick, or Zwiek? I'm not, Zwick? Zwick. Jill asks, how can we compel those in our city who have vehicles and also have homes in other states to comply with our city ordinance to purchase vehicle stickers?
That's a great question, and we need to, because we are missing out on a tremendous amount of opportunity. What I like to remind people, and definitely our enforcement team, and I will use the media to get this word out, is that our vehicle tax code doesn't say that your car has to be registered in the city of Chicago. It's really common thought that it does, that this is a city of Chicago tax. But in effect, the wheel tax ordinance says that any car that resides in the city of Chicago for 30 days or more has to pay for this tax. So our enforcement team is well aware of that, and we're enforcing that every step of the way. And let the customer who would like to register their car in the suburbs or in Wisconsin or someplace else have to go to court and fight why it is that they're not in violation of the code, because the code is clear. So we, like I said, are stepping up our enforcement very, very heavily. It's a source of pride for me to do that. And I believe that before I'm ready to ask any law-abiding citizen in the city of Chicago, or anywhere else for that matter, to pay more, we should be going after those individuals who have made an active choice to not pay at all.
Our dear friend Honey Skinner asks, is there anything important happening in December? And aside from my birthday on December 17th, it happens to be the wedding of our guest speaker today, Susana Mendoza. And she's joined by her fiancé, soon-to-be husband, David. Stand up, say hello. Let him see that she made a good choice here.
I shouldn't let Dan give all the kudos to my fantastic, fabulous, marvelous, awesome fiancé. He is the greatest in the whole world. And I have been a very lucky girl. First of all, thank you for any of you who voted for me this year, because I did win a pretty important seat that I was really working hard to try to do a good job for you as your clerk. And then soon after that, Alderman Burke, and I swear, I mean, the father was there, he saw it. This was not rigged, but he invited me to an Irish American Fellowship breakfast where everybody who showed up was entered into a raffle to win 2 round-trip tickets to Ireland. And while it was not rigged, I won. So within like a month of winning this huge election, I win 2 round-trip tickets to Ireland. I went over the break in August with my fiancé because his birthday is August 21st. That would be a nice gift. And then on the 22nd, he surprised me and proposed. In Ireland, on a cliffside, and I did ask him, did you ask right here just in case? I would have said no. But all is good. I made it home safely. We're engaged, and on December 17th, I'm going to marry the most incredible man I've ever known in my life. So thank you, honey.
Should I suggest, Susana, that I'm the one that took you to Ireland the first time? Along with your mother, of course. Our dear friend Amy Brennan would like to know what are some of your challenges on the job? And Susana?
Amy, that's like such a loaded question. There's so many challenges, whether it's going from being a legislator who was very self-autonomous, everything was about what I wanted to do on behalf of the people that I represented. And whatever idea I introduced I had full direction on. Whereas now I represent a staff of about 96 active employees. I have to be a good manager. That is always challenging, but it's also very, very exciting, and I'm passionate about that. So every day I can tell you that I guess my biggest challenge is not having enough time in the day to do everything that I'd like to do. And I do wake up every day really excited about my job, and I wasn't sure how I would feel about the transition from being a legislator to being a manager, more of an administrator to some extent, but it's fantastic, and I love every little bit of it. So technologically, huge challenges along the way of trying to get our office up to speed with where it should be. But like I said, I'm really laser focused about that, and anybody who follows me on the web or through social media knows that I'm not just talking about it, I'm doing it day in and day out.
Scott Niehaus with the Village of Tinley Park asks, have you had any discussions with the Secretary of State in relation to sharing of sticker databases?
Great question, Scott, and yes. And one of my biggest supporters has always been Secretary of State Jesse White. He's a dear friend of mine. So here's where having good relationships with people from all walks of life and in all parts of intergovernmental offices really comes into play. He's been very, very kind and gracious about working with my office in any context that we can. One of the things that we'd like to do is to leverage his database, which we are going to be having better access to cross-reference people who have registered their vehicles but haven't bought their city sticker yet so that we can go after them through the enforcement side, as well as even offer people who have just moved into the city of Chicago a welcome to Chicago, instead of that welcome to Chicago being through the fact that they got a ticket for a city sticker they had no idea they had to purchase. So let's say you're coming in from Texas and nobody tells you that, hey, you know what, you need a city sticker if you want to park here without getting a ticket. Secretary of State's office doesn't tell you that, so we're definitely going to have better communication between what Secretary of State's office does and what we do. But if we are able to tap into their database and on a routine way, like every day or every couple days, print out a report of how many new people to the city of Chicago we have, we could actually generate a letter, a welcome kit of sorts from our office to that constituent saying, welcome to Chicago. Here are the things you need to know about parking in the city. By the way, you happen to live in residential zone 123, that's an additional $25. This is how much you need to pay for your vehicle sticker. And by the way, here's what's happening at Millennium Park or wherever else. So it's a really great opportunity for us to make sure that people are in compliance with the law at the same time of giving them a better welcome than what they are unfortunately subject to sometimes under the current process.
I believe this is Chester Kroplidowski, a retired Chicago Police Department, cites a problem with the city parking permit program, specifically with regard to the Wrigley Field area. And he was wondering if the seasoned conflicts could be addressed with different issue dates.
Not exactly sure what you mean by the question, but what I would say is that residential parking is always a challenge. You know what I mean? When you talk about challenges, residential parking is a challenge. I'm going to be setting up a task force, actually through ordinance. Alderman Moore, you might be interested. That will put together some of the aldermen who have really come to me and that I had met with earlier who have a concern as to how we handle residential parking, control it, to make sure that it's servicing the people that it's supposed to in the best way. I know that I believe 383 is a zone for Wrigley Field, and Alderman Tunney has made his entire ward one zone just to get rid of all these other headaches. But I'm not exactly sure what the officer is referring to, so if you could please just reach out to my office. I'm more than happy to sit down with anybody who has a concern or send us an email or hit me on Facebook or you know the routine. I'm always accessible, and that's one of the things that I pride myself on doing is listening. And if you can kind of maybe school me on what the situation is, then I'll hopefully be able to come up with an idea on how to help.
Karina Sanchez asks on dog registration. It's an area that we don't hear all that much about. It happens to be pretty close to my heart, being a dog lover. What are you doing to increase dog registration numbers?
Wow, that's totally not fair because Karina works for me, so.
I could slip it in.
Yeah, Dan, I'm all about full disclosure and real transparency, so you're not getting a raise because of that or anything. All right, so this is very exciting because most people don't even know that our office handles dog registrations at all. Like, how many of you have dogs? Okay. Wow, you guys are really busy business people. Okay, how many of you that raised your hand love your dog? All right. So now we have more people that raised their hand than said they had dogs, right? But next year, this year, don't expect to see much, fanfare about what we're doing for dog registration because, I could make stuff up, but I really believe that it's better for me to work really, really hard right now on laying the foundation for how to just hit a home run next year going into our first season, like a full season of what we can do with dog registrations. I've been in communication with animal welfare, animal control, on teaming up to do vaccinations at a much cheaper cost. Right now, if you go to veterinarian office, which I love vets, I encourage people to send their pets to vets just like we encourage people to make sure their kids are going to see a real doctor. But as a state legislator, I used to offer health fairs to my constituents all the time. It wasn't a substitute for sending your child to the doctor, but it was an opportunity for many families from lower incomes to be able to bring their kids and get a free shot, free vaccination, so they could send their kids to school and save money at a time when things are tough. So if we can offer that same rabies shot, let's say, to a dog that a vet could offer, but at a third of the price, I think that's a good thing that we could do. At the same time, offering a vaccination at maybe, let's say, $14 instead of $40 will allow us to capture that individual and make sure that their dog is actually registered with the city of Chicago and that they understand what the law is. Many people just don't register their dogs because they don't even know that there's an ordinance that says that they have to. So it's an issue of better educating people. We're laying all the groundwork for that next year, and we're actually going to do a really super cool thing, which I hope the media does not talk about right now. I know that's kind of like a stretch to ask you to do, but we will be making a really big fanfare about this next year. I'm going to give you like a heads up on it. Please don't write about it because we are going to announce this, and we want it to be like impactful. But next year, we're going to create a Dog of Distinction campaign, and we're working on all that right now. And so like from January till maybe end of April or so, we're going to be asking people that if they register their dogs online, which is $5, it's so cheap, they will automatically be entered into a contest or a raffle for their dog to be named the Chicago's Dog of Distinction. And then what we'll do is, I know you laughed about it, but it's actually a cool idea because what we'll do, people get very excited about their pets. This is one thing that I have noticed. So what we'll do is we'll have this contest, and then we'll narrow it down to 5 contestants, 5 finalists, and then we will do stories and profiles on these dogs and their owners and put them up for a vote on our website to allow people to choose who they think Chicago's top dog or dog of distinction should be. And we've partnered up with the Goldsmith, which is a very well-known jeweler, high-end jeweler on 900 North Michigan. She, if you don't know, you should know her because she's the one where our great President Barack Obama went and purchased a set of earrings for the First Lady, and she was not really happy with the size of them. So he went back and purchased a new pair. So kudos to Michelle, but that particular jeweler is the same jeweler who will be designing for us a completely blinged out dog tag that says Chicago's Dog of Distinction or Top Dog in rubies and sapphires and with the Chicago flag on the front. It's going to be gorgeous. And that will be the big prize that the person will be entered into to win. Anyone who registers will be entered into this contest to win this beautiful dog tag, whose dog will be showcased for the whole entire city of Chicago. And we're going to have a big, huge event at City Hall where we'll have Sparky the dog, hopefully. I haven't talked to the Chicago Fire about this yet, but I'm thinking they'll say yes. The idea is to have like Chicago dog, Sparky, and the other fraternity members, get it, fraternity, come together to talk about how important it is to make sure your dog is registered, what the benefits of registration are, and why it is that this is important. So just an idea. And then also the Palmer House. Do you folks even know that the Palmer House does a dog day tea? So that's nuts, but it's awesome because it's really expensive. And they've agreed to open up 5 of their only 29 slots to our top 5 dogs. So we're going to really, roll out the red carpet for this dog initiative. And we'll also hopefully have then an event in the summer called maybe the Dog Days of Summer, where we will hopefully be able to attract corporate sponsors and do all those things. But in the past, these have been ideas like the Dog Day on the Green, but everything it was done last minute. And I just believe that you can't ask a corporate sponsor to invest in us a month before the event, right? We've got to get on their calendars a good, at least 8 months to a year before we actually have the event so that they know how to adjust their budgets. And those are the type of things that we want to do, which is why publicly I haven't spoken about this. Honestly, this is the biggest crowd I've ever said this to. But do you think I'm going in the right direction here? What do you think? I'm hoping. So we'll have a lot of fun. So if any of you work in the dog industry, please reach out to us because we're looking for sponsors.
Well, Mr. Doherty, I don't think, I have a question for our city clerk. Susana, during your campaign, and I thought this might be of interest to members of the City Club and certainly those that are engaged in private business. During your campaign, you talked about the opportunity to be creative and possibly use the rear side of our city's vehicle sticker for private advertising. Just wondering if you could give us an update and if there's any new developments in that area.
Sure, happy to. So we put out an RFI a while back to a request for information on ideas, creative ideas, and elements that we could think about in terms of utilizing the backspace of our city sticker, which currently does advertise, but it advertises the mayor and myself. And I kind of think if we're doing a good job, you should know who we are. So that space could be better utilized as an advertising vehicle or a sponsorship vehicle that could help raise money for the city and help us avoid having to ask people who already pay significant amounts for their city sticker to pay more. So we're in the process of looking at that. We will eventually be putting out a request for a proposal, but this is not an easy thing to do. We're looking at every aspect of how to run this operation, whether it's the legal components, the creative side components, all of those things, so that when we do launch that request for a proposal, we're able to move as quickly as possible and have the best end product as an option for consumers. So we're still a ways away from that, Dan, but definitely I'm committed to seeing what, if anything, can be done with that. And nowadays, there's just so many opportunities. If you think about the fact that, let's say, this is the sheet that you purchase your city sticker on. Like when you come to us, we'll give you a sheet about this size. Your city sticker takes up this much of it. Like the potential for what you could do with the rest of this document is pretty significant from an advertising perspective. Maybe you rip up the top part and it's a coupon you take home with you for free something or other. Also, the back of the city sticker itself could potentially have things like QR codes on it, where from an advertiser's perspective, instead of just slapping a logo on the back of the city sticker, you know what you could do is just have a QR code on there and let the person be the one to make a choice to go to it, and you could continuously change your message on that QR code. I think that brings a lot more value than just having, a static symbol on a piece of paper or an image. So just rough ideas of the things that we're thinking about. But what I'd like to see come back eventually when we do these RFIs and RFPs is a creative angle on what can we do that helps us, but also is of value to the consumer. We're going to ask people to allow any kind of sponsorship on their things. It should be something that they can be happy that they feel they got a little bit of value from, whether it's a free cup of coffee or a free gallon of milk.
That concludes our question, but Jay, let me thank you personally for giving me my debut before the City Club today.
Not at all. Let's give Dan Burke a round of applause. Also, City Clerk Susana Mendoza. Hold on.